My alarm went off. I knew I should have moved, and I didn't move, and I just kind of laid there because I was super comfortable. And I have blackout curtains. I have a blackout curtain I hang here, one on the left and right, and one on the back. And then I take them down in the morning because I really like the sunshine coming in, so I don't like the idea of leaving them up. And I'll just fold them up and then put them back up and repin them at night. But I woke up, I step out of the van, there are like 2 cop cars, there's a bunch of cops getting like coffee up on the balcony, and I was like really nervous. But I came out the side passenger door because both sides open, but my bed's on this side, so going out this way you can't really get out too cleanly. I can open it from the other side and pull one of the bins from underneath of there, but getting to the point, there was just a lot of cops. So I came out the passenger side, I circled the car, and I'm shorter than the car, so I don't know if they saw me or not. And then I came around the front of the car and got into the driver's side. Did that make sense? I went out the passenger side rear door, spotted the cops up at the coffee shop, and there were a lot of them in 2 cop cars. And I got in my car and I started it, and I had the fog problem on the windows, or the condensation problem on the windows. So, I started decondensationing the windows and just kind of sat here and listened to the radio, and the cops started filtering out, and I didn't even see the second cop car. So the first one, which was directly in front of my van. And yeah, I shouldn't do that again. Because there are streets definitely where if I had slept in a little bit, I wouldn't have been bothered. But like, that's a good like late night, nobody really cares because nobody's in the coffee shop spot. But it's definitely not a like sleep in till 8 in the morning spot, and it's 7:52, so it's almost 8 o'clock in the morning. A lot of the parking is about to turn paid, and more importantly, the sun's out. But I really don't like leaving. I love having my windows. I love having sunlight. They're tinted plus have privacy screens. So during the day, I can sit back there and work and nobody like sees me at all. But nighttime, I illuminate like a fire in the fire pit. So I put up I have the blackout curtains just to like cover my 4 corners at night. And then I have, let me see if I can show it to you. I have these screens on the front window, which adds just not much, but an extra layer of like darkening effect on the front passenger windows. I had bought them for the Avalon, and they weren't really useful in my Avalon. I'm going to be honest. I couldn't really find a good way to use them. They were originally for my back window, but they did nothing. But they're really great for this because it adds a screen here, and then a screen on the passenger side, and then I put the front window thing in. So there's a lot of layers of things like people would intentionally have to try to look upon in order to see into the car. So I feel like pretty like secure, like people have to work to see through my windows. But anyway, I don't remember getting a knock on the door, but also, like, I sleep through things. Like, if they had knocked on the van, I might have slept through it. Who the heck knows? But it was kind of scary. Like, I always want to be legal. Parking, like I said, doesn't turn paid for, like, another hour. And so I need to just be more aware. But otherwise, day 3 of van life, I'm feeling pretty good. Like I said, for less than $300, I got myself a setup. I found out, I went to Target, I got some plastic bins and some drawer systems that work for me. Like, I love that my food is stored in a drawer system and not a bag anymore, because now I can find it. I had this huge bag that I called my pantry in the car, and I could never find anything. I could never find my food. Everything was kind of jumbled all together, and now I have these 3 drawers. It's like if I want to like cook something, I can put my hand directly on it. I can cook in the van. I haven't done it yet. I'm really excited about trying that out today. Right now I'm trying to consider if I should just go to a park and try that. But I'm feeling pretty good and pretty happy about finally like being in the van. And right now, the way I have things set up, like literally I could take all of this stuff out. It's a camping cot, it's a the sleeping bag on top of that, and that's just stuff like soft goods and stuff, some plastic bins, some plastic drawers from Target, and it gives me a nice little starter setup. Very, very, very inspired by Chrome Valdez, even though he's not the only person that done it. Like, the more I watch other YouTubers that aren't like the high-end fancy, I bought a van and then had like 3 months to fix it up in my mother's yard type peeps, or like my dad's in construction and helped me like actually build something out of wood, and you know, it looks super fancy. Like, there's other YouTubers out there I'm seeing who like started super basic, just like Chrome Valdez. Chrome Valdez, I have a sweet spot for him. I love his videos. I love his editing style. But like, you know, I will say, like, my starter, I don't know why I always have this on when I'm like doing these videos and I'm not driving. But anyway, you know, Chrome's whole thing was like, he got a bed frame made, cut to his specifications. He threw some plastic bins in his van, and then he went on about his life. In my situation, I literally had to move from a car to a van. So I got this van, I drove up to my car, I took the stuff out of my car and threw it in the van, completely unorganized with all the seats in it. The first night, I slept in the lean back seat with all of my stuff basically in boxes back there, just like moving into a new apartment. Like, you just throw the shit in there and you don't really have time to organize it. And then the second day, I was like, I at least need to get these seats out, and maybe I can just lay on the floor for a while. Because the thing is, I have a camping cot back in my storage back in Baltimore, and I really thought, oh, I can find some way to lay on the floor and, like, wait this out. I could not. I mean, number one, the floor was uncomfortable because it's basically like that little carpety stuff in the little places where the seats hook on. I do need a rug for back there, but that's like, I don't need that right now. It'll happen down the line when I find something I like and I want. But I do want a carpet like over top of the car floor. But not right now. Not majorly important. It can happen down the line. So second day was really about getting those seats out, which I successfully did, but I had a completely uncomfortable sleep. And also, like, my stuff was in bags because in the car, I'm going to just take the seatbelt off because it's getting on my nerves. It was really nice to have things in bags because bags compress and expand based on how much they're holding. And it's still good to have some of my stuff in bags, but definitely with my food, certain electronics that I want to have accessible, like digging in these bags was really, really hard. So having drawers or shelving system or labeled bins, because now I can have bins and they just have a place, and it's okay if they're always taking up the same amount of space, because ideally those things get restored to that bin in that space. So I'm kind of rambly here, but the thing was, I have all this vertical space all of a sudden, whereas in the car it was a lot of flat space. Like, there was a lot of flat space in the trunk, which I had my bins for my clothes bin, and then everything I could kind of fit around that. For the van, I have all this vertical space I'm trying to figure out how to use, and I haven't perfected it yet, but it's like, I have vertical space so I can have a container, a solid container that has verticalness to it. And so that's why I went to Target. I got some bins and started trying to use the vertical space, because like, there was just a bunch of stuff like scattered around, and then this little area where I was trying to sleep on the floor, and that just was completely uncomfortable. And I was like, this can't last more than one night. I had to do a lot of picking up and dropping off for work yesterday. Yeah, I went and got a pickup truck. I had to drive out to a college to drop off a ladder that we borrowed for our theater company. I had came back and I was like, I really just wanted a nap because I had been up late with rehearsal the night before and then got up early to drop off this ladder. But I was like, I have a little bit of time and I cannot sleep on this floor again. And I needed to go to Target anyway because I needed to pick up something for the theater. So I was like, you know what? While I'm in Target, I'm also going to get me a really quick setup. So I spent maybe an hour walking around Target, got the clothing rack for the theater, looked at bins real quick, did some quick pricing on what was cheap and fast, because right now I honestly need to save as much money as possible because this down payment was a huge investment. So I got the bins. I unfortunately went to REI first, to be honest, to get a camping cot, because sometimes I can't find them unless I specifically go to a camping store, and sometimes they're there. I was kind of upset because I went to Target and I found something similar for about $10 cheaper, and I would have been happy to buy that, but whatever. I'm not going to take this cot back to REI. It's fine. It's just like the cot I had before. And I slept in a camping cot in an apartment because I couldn't afford a bed for a very long time. So I've slept on camping cots before. First time in a vehicle, but hey, it worked out. And I actually didn't even think of that as an idea until I saw it. I saw it on a minivan in one of Bob Wells's videos. And I see a lot of people with constructed beds. And my thing about wood is heavy. And the more pieces of wood that you put together, the heavier it gets. And keeping the van light also keeps up its fuel efficiency. So, like, the good thing about a camping cot is it doesn't really weigh that much. And also I can fold it back up and steal some cargo space back if I ever need it. So I really like the idea of having a camping cot. And if anything in the future, adding a little padding to it, because there is a little uncomfortable spot like right in the middle. And, you know, I throw some extra blankets on there. It doesn't really bother me. But, yeah, mostly I'm like, camping cot, done. I have a bed, and I got the kind that still has it has a gap between the front and the middle, and a gap between the middle and the back, so I can actually still use underneath for storage, despite it being a camping cot, because I've seen some that have more webbing, and obviously you can't store under those. They're probably more sturdy, but that gets into other stuff. So, stopped by REI, got a camping cot, and then went to Target, got some bins, and I got blackout curtains. I got bins and blackout curtains because I was like, I need two things that were really difficult for me three things, I'm sorry. Bed, storage, window covers. And I didn't have time to deal with reflectix anyway. Like, I didn't have enough time to measure my windows. I needed this to happen in a few hours. So I got my blackout curtains, I got my camping cot, and I got my storage unit. And then I spent like another hour and a half in the parking lot. You know, I got as far away from everybody else as I could. I mean, anybody who saw me saw what I was doing. I literally had to take things out of the car and put it in a parking space beside me. But guess what? I don't have nobody's house to work at. This was the only way I could do it. So what I did was I pulled stuff out the van. I kind of shifted stuff around as I could. But sometimes, honestly, I just took a whole bag out. It's like your house. You threw a bunch of stuff in like a packing box, and you don't know what the hell's in there. So really, you just need to like start pulling stuff out and putting it away. I literally set up the bins in a parking space beside me and started pulling stuff out. I organized my kitchen stuff. I did what I had to do. Like I said, I don't have a dependable house I can go to like organize things. I have a friend who's really awesome and is going to help me out with the car seats because she really wants me to keep them. But like, I couldn't default call her. She was at work and I had 4 hours to get this done so that I had a place to sleep and I could still accomplish my goals for the evening. I still had some work stuff to do. I had another run to make for work. So literally in the span of a few hours, I needed to have a starter set up back there. So I did it. Camping cot, storage units, blackout curtains. I just bought them. I didn't touch them. I didn't even know if they would work. And I bought two like tension rods, one for the front, one for the back, because I figured that would be the easiest thing to do. And I really quickly fit those in. Didn't even open the curtains. Had to go pick up another piece of equipment for the theater. So met with the theater that we're borrowing a haze machine from. Picked up that haze machine, put it in what I like to call my entryway door, because I've intentionally left a little spot that I call my entryway door, and I don't want to fill that with anything. That's how I get in. That's my space to like put my feet down and get dressed. It's an important space to me. It's also where I might have to throw things when I need to carry something in the car. And that was mostly because I also had somebody in my passenger seat. I'm also trying to keep my passenger seat as clean as possible and not have a person in there. But it's also like super up right now to fit the bed, but that's a whole different story. It worked. I had a bed and I was like super excited to go to bed. And it was really nice to lay out in a bed. Yeah, it was about twin size, but honestly, I've slept in twin beds for most of my life. I've had twin beds for more of my adult life than I've had any other size bed. They have people like, I have to have a full, I have to have a twin. I'll watch a lot of videos where it's like, and two people could sleep comfortably in here. Right now it's just me. I don't see that changing in the near future. And if it does, like I said, this setup's really easy to pop out and make into something different. Where I go stay with them, I don't know. Right now I needed this to be functional for me, and I successfully did it. And even though, yeah, there are other van lifers who probably have done similar, simple, quick setups, I was specifically, I'm not even gonna lie, like, inspired by Chrome Valdez, and have been for a while. That, you know, he did it. He was like, I'm gonna make a video that shows you don't need all that stuff, and what I have is a framework to build from, and I can build from it more efficiently. But I couldn't do it until I ripped out those seats, and I couldn't do it until, like, I just threw some stuff in here. There was one other video that really inspired me. It was on Bob Wells' channel. I don't even remember the guy's name, but there was some guy he interviewed who, he wasn't a full-timer. He was like a weekender, but he had set up a minivan. And that's exactly what he did. He went to a camping store, he bought a bunch of camping store stuff, and he threw it into a van. Like, even his chair in his van was like one of those foldable chairs, which I have one, but I'm not going to use it in the van. Also, he didn't live in there, so he didn't have all of his belongings in there, which I think leads to a lighter van. Like, if you can leave stuff at home, then you're bringing stuff for however much time you think you're going to be on the road. And the thing is, like, when you live in your van, like, I have office supplies back there. I have a printer. I need to find a better way to fit it in there, but I have a printer back there. I got rid of the box finally because the box makes it so much bigger. I love the box because it had handles, and I could also put the paper in there and like a couple extra items related to the printer. I've ripped that stuff out and just put it, some of it is in electronics and some of it is just like in my extra spare stuff storage, as I like to call it. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with my starter setup. There's some adjustments I want to make already. A lot of it has to do with the Sienna, like a few other brands out there, has the well. So it had that stow and go seat, which I, you know, did a little video about getting those seats out. And the problem right now is the well trap stuff. Like, I literally have to, the way I have stuff set up right now, I have to pull things out to get to the things that are deep in the well. So I tried to put the least used things down there, but ideally I'd like that extra storage to be more useful than it currently is. Right now it's not very useful to me, because it's so difficult to get to. Like, it really is like a basement right now, and I don't want it to be like a basement. Like, I want it to be useful storage. But for starting out, for getting me through day 3 of van life, for making sure I had a bed last night, which even with the whole cop situation was nice, I'm going to consider it 5-star. I am so happy to be in van life.